Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is my very first YouTube video ever, so please let me know if you have any recommendations or whatever that I can do to make my videos better. I will work on trying to afford a camera, but for right now I'm shooting off of my iPad and my iPhone. But I get a bunch of questions on how I make my one shoulder tops. These ones, I'm actually wearing one right now. And they're super comfy and they're super easy to make out of a men's t-shirt. So today I'm going to be using this shirt that I thrifted, and it has really bad pit stains if you can't see, so I can't really wear it like this. But I'm gonna use this to make it, and then all you need is just scissors, a sewing machine, and an iron. Just kidding, you're also gonna need a sports bra to make sure the top is the right size, so grab one that already fits you. So first I'm just laying out my shirt, and then I'm laying my bralette that I already have on top of it to use as a guide. And I'm just making sure that the logo is in the right place that I want it to be. I recommend using chalk to outline the shape you want, especially if you're doing this for your first time, but I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the shape that I want. And make sure to leave seam allowance on the sides of the bralette, and then leave enough room on the bottom to fold it over and put elastic in it. And you won't need any seam allowance on the top. I usually double line the top of my bralettes so it gives me some extra thickness and I don't have to wear a bra under them. For the back of the bralette, you're just going to follow the shape as the front part, but you're just going to make it straight across in the back. And here is what my two pieces look like. Now you're just going to pin the front and the back together, and make sure you do this inside out. And then just sew where you pinned. I'm using a serger, but you can use any sewing machine, and a straight stitch would be perfectly fine. Now we're just going to take the bottom part of the bralette and fold it up so we can create a hem. Make sure to leave enough room to put elastic through at the end, and I'm using a cover stitch machine, but you could also use a zigzag stitch on a normal sewing machine. And we're going to use the rest of the shirt to make the straps. For the straps, you're going to want to cut pieces that are 2 1/4 inches wide, and I use a rotary cutter just to make this easier, but you can also use scissors, and then just cut the ends. To make sure you have enough length for the straps, you're going to want to cut a second piece, and then to attach them, cut them at an angle like this. And along the line, just sew it together on your sewing machine with a straight stitch. Now grab your iron and press open the seam that you made. You don't need spray starch, but it really helps with this process. So the spray starch just stiffens the fabric a little bit, and then I fold it over like this, and you're just making bias tape is what it's called. So once you have it folded over like this, you're just going to take the iron and press it down and just try to make it as even as you can all the way down. And this is just another angle so you can see a little better, and this is definitely the most time consuming part of this whole project, but it'll be worth it in the end. Once you're done, it'll look like this, and then just grab the top that you made and kind of sandwich it in between the bias tape and pin it all the way around. So here's what it should look like, and I stopped before it met the other piece, and this is where you're going to start, and then you're just going to sew all the way around. And I'm using my cover stitch serger for this, but you can also just use a straight stitch, a zigzag stitch, or a double needle would be awesome on a normal sewing machine. So once you get to this part, just sandwich the rest of the top in between the bias tape, and then just continue all the way down, and this will create the strap. So now just trim the strap to whatever length you need. You can use the bralette that you used at the beginning of this as a guide. And this area is where I place the strap, and then I just sew it with a straight stitch, and I make sure it's super reinforced. For the elastic, just cut a very small hole in the hem of the shirt, and I would honestly recommend using way thinner elastic than I used, but this was all I had at the moment. I had a really hard time pulling it through the shirt. So to pull the elastic through the bottom, you can use a safety pin or a stick and just tape it to it, but I'm using this thing called a bodkin, and it's super helpful. I got it at a craft store, and I haven't had it fall off inside the shirt a single time, so I definitely recommend buying one of these. So just thread the elastic through all the way until it reaches the other side, and if you use thinner elastic, this will be much easier. And then just sew the ends of the elastic together. I make sure this is super reinforced, so I just kind of front stitch and back stitch a ton of times. And then just try to pull the elastic through evenly. This would be much easier if I would have done a thinner elastic, but once it's all the way through, all you're going to do is grab a hand sewing needle and some thread and sew up that hole that you made. And now the top is finally done. This is what it should look like. And here is what it looks like on. These are seriously my favorite, just comfy tops ever. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe to my channel and give me suggestions on what tutorials you want to see next.